Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And now that Verizon got official approval from the FCC on the Frontier deal, I wanted to bring up this map again because some of you had asked, where does Verizon now gain this additional fiber? And here on this map, as you can see, the red is Verizon's footprint and blue is Frontier's footprint, which will now be Verizon Fios as well. So all of the blue now goes to Verizon. Verizon now owns that footprint. So that's now, Verizon is now a large scaled fiber to the prem competitor. It's not just on the East Coast anymore. They're now doing fiber to the premise in all of this blue. So there's still some additional work that needs to happen, right? Integration, branding, getting all the Frontier billing onto Verizon Fios. All of that stuff is going to happen on the back end. But this deal has officially been approved ahead of schedule. This is way ahead of schedule in my view. Some have still said that maybe the official close won't be until the beginning of next year. I highly doubt that. I still think within the next few months, Verizon will close on this deal, if they don't already announce closing sooner, right? As soon as the FCC gave T-Mobile approval for the Lumos deal, they closed that deal right then and there, right? So I'm fully expecting Verizon to do the same. And the reason, right, Lumos is far smaller, so I will acknowledge that. This is a much bigger deal from that aspect. But I think Verizon moves very quickly on this. Now, one thing I wanted to bring up for the end of the video and discuss that with you guys is the capex situation. Because now, I mean, Verizon's going to approach 40 million homes passed. So they're in a similar type of capex situation as AT&T, right? AT&T is at 22 billion, but a huge chunk of that is carved out for fiber investments. They leave some for wireless, but a huge chunk of that goes to fiber. Now, for Verizon to continue to scale and get to more homes passed within this Frontier footprint, right? Verizon's capex is at 17.5 to 18.5 between that. Is Verizon going to up capex to invest more into this fiber footprint, or are they going to carve out more of the 17.5 to 18.5 billion to put towards this fiber build and take some away from wireless, right? That's a very interesting question to ask Verizon, because Verizon, the way that their capex envelope has been guided for the year, it usually still includes the Fios footprint, but that's before this deal. That was a much smaller footprint, right? They were still expanding within that footprint, but probably, 3-4 billion took care of that, right? And then the rest of the capex went to wireless. But now you're looking at this much bigger footprint. You're going to have to invest more capex. So either you up capex, either Verizon goes to 19, 20, 21 billion, and then they take, more out of that into fiber, or they take out more out of the current capex and take away some from the wireless side. It's very possible. We'll have to see if Verizon gives any clarification on that, see publicly. But if they announce a higher capex, then we immediately know where that additional money is going to go. And it's going to go for these investments to further expand, to further reach more homes and homes passed, right? More fiber to the prem in these areas. And then potentially new areas as well, right? Some closer cities, some neighboring states that are close by. Maybe Verizon now expands into those markets since they now have a much larger footprint, and it's closer to that footprint than where Verizon used to be, right? Verizon mostly was on the East Coast. They weren't going to put fiber all the way to California, right? Although they were starting to get to some of those markets, but now it just makes much more sense. But we still have to kind of overlook and see how this capex situation is going to pan out for Verizon. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.